Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Macon Campbell and this is Making Stuff. So I wasn't really planning to do another video until my CNC arrives. Now I realized that it might be a while until I receive it, so I decided to do something that I've been meaning to do for quite some time. So you see, I have a number of procedures or workflows that are in serious need of organization and streamlining. Now the one I'm planning to tackle today is drilling. Now the biggest problem I have with drilling is drill bit storage. So as it stands, this is my current state of affairs. Every time I need to drill either concrete or steel, the first place I go to is up here. So this is currently my poor attempt at storage for my masonry and steel bits. So every time I need to use one of these, I have to sift through all of these to find the size that I'm looking for. Now 9 times out of 10 I just end up having to chuck everything out, find the one I'm looking for, and then stick them back in the jar. Now when I need to drill anything into wood, I have to go somewhere else, and that's here. So this is where I keep most of my wood bits, and as you can see, it is also a catch-all for a lot of my other bits, like some of my step drill bits, most of my countersink drill bits and countersink bits are here too. There's a Craig drill bit, and I also have a lot of center punches and inserts. I also have a bunch of smaller steel bits that I keep in here that I sometimes use in my machine lathe, but these are mostly just my standard wood drill bits. If I'm in need of a spade bit or a Forstner bit, that again is somewhere else. So over here in a random cubby on my toolboard, I have my spade or paddle bits and my Forstner bits. Now what I've shown you so far are by no means all of the drill bits that I have. In fact, over here I have a set of really cheap wooden drill bits. Over here I have another set of really cheap steel drill bits, and over here I have, which is the only decent set of drill bits that I own, and this is a fairly expensive set of drill bits. As you can see, I already have one missing or broken. I'm not sure where that is. And then here, hidden on the other side of the shop, let me go and fetch it quick. I have this, which is just basically a set that I got with a driver that I bought, which just contains a whole bunch of masonry, steel and wood drill bits, along with screw inserts, a couple paddle bits and a bunch of random stuff. Now you might be asking yourself, how does it get like this? And the simple answer is easy. Because my organization is so horrible, sometimes when I'm busy with a project and I find myself at the hardware store, I just end up buying a brand new bit because I'm not sure whether I have the bit that I'm looking for at home, and if I have it, whether I'm going to be able to find it. So today I plan to come up with some kind of storage solution for maybe not all of my drill bits, but at least all of the ones that I use most often. And by doing that, I'll be able to see what sizes I have, what sizes I don't have, which sizes I have multiples of, so that I can finally get to a point where having to drill holes isn't such a pain in the butt. So the first thing I think I need to do is to sort through all of the drill bits that I have at the moment, start taking some measurements and start coming up with some solutions. Now the tool of choice for this project is going to be the laser. So as soon as I've taken all of my measurements and come up with some kind of idea for what it is that I'm going to do, I'm going to be moving over to the computer to start drawing up a design that I can cut out on the laser, which I think is a perfect tool for the job. So before I can get started with that, I better get sorting on all of these drill bits. Okay, well that took quite a while. As you can see, I went ahead and I sorted my spade bits and the few Forstner bits that I have as well. I've also added my step bits over here. That's about as far as I'm going to go with this. Now I'm not planning to create a storage system that fits all of these things perfectly. The idea is to create something a little bit more universal, because the idea is that I want to make the plans for this storage system available for purchase on my website. So basically it's going to be more of a complete system, which hopefully makes provision for some overflow items and more specialty items as well. Now, because of where I live, all of the bits that I use are in metric. So unfortunately, the storage system that I'm going to create is also going to be in metric. But if time permits, I will do my best to try and adjust it for imperial as well. But don't hold me to that. If you have any design skills, you could take the templates that I have and just adjust them yourself. But as I said, I will try to make an imperial version as well. Now the initial plan was to put all of this in one box, but I'm contemplating to move the masonry bits to a separate unit, because the box that I'm going to create here I would like to mount next to my drill press. And as you would imagine, logically you're never going to use masonry bits on the drill press. So while I'm still going to have a storage solution for these, it's just going to be separate from the wood and the steel. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be cutting this box on the laser machine, and the software of choice for designing this is going to be Adobe Illustrator. Now I would love to take you through the process step by step, but I'm estimating that the time for design for this is going to be a couple of hours at least. So a step by step of the design is unfortunately going to be beyond the scope of this video. I will, however, try and screen capture the whole process and put in a time-lapse version for you guys to watch, just to give you a bit of an idea of how I approach the design of something like this. But with that said, if there's anyone who is interested in the design specifically, let me know in the comments, and perhaps at some point I can do a video specifically on something like that. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump into Illustrator and get started. Okay, so as is always the case, that took a whole lot longer than I planned for it to, but it's done, so let's take a look at it. Unfortunately, I don't have any screen capture software installed on this machine at the moment, so I'm just going to run through it with you on camera. Okay, so let's jump into Lightburn here quickly. Just delete this old job I was busy with, and let's go ahead and import our file. So as you can see, I have an Illustrator file here as well as a DFX, and this I think is an SVG. Now in Lightburn you can import Illustrator files directly, but I'm going to try this DFX quickly, see how that works. Okay, everything seems to be here. I'm just going to select one of these parts just so that I can see if the size is correct, and yeah, that's 500 across, so that's correct. So let me explain to you what's going on here. Okay, so if you happen to buy this file, this is what you're going to be met with. So basically this whole part of here on the side is the cabinet, and this over here are two inserts that are going to go into the cabinets. As you can see, there are two shelves over here. Steel one is going to go on the top shelf and the rest is going to go at the bottom. And then I've also created a small cubby here at the bottom, which is going to be used for miscellaneous storage and whatever extra drill bits that I have. I also created this little piece over here, which is going to slot inside this bottom panel. Now, if none of this makes sense right now, don't worry, it's going to make a lot more sense once we start putting it together. So this top part over here is the steel bit storage. This one at the bottom over here is the wood and other bits storage. And then, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the masonry bits I'm going to keep separate. So you'll see this one looks a little bit different. I've actually made provisions for mounting this against the wall on its own. So this is not going to go into a cabinet. These two extra pieces over here I just created, which are exactly the same as this top panel and the front panel, only over here I left them blank. So if perhaps you purchase this and you cut everything out, you can drill whatever holes you want inside here or engrave whatever you want inside there, and hopefully that'll make it easier for anyone wanting to use this file for like Imperial or something like that, or for anything else that you might want to store in a box like this. So before I go ahead and cut all of the parts, I'm going to cut just this masonry holder all by itself, because if I cut this and it works, then there's a good chance that all of the other stuff is going to be fine too. So for now I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of this other stuff, and I'm going to drag this into my scene over here. Okay, so let's get the machine started, load up some material, and we can get cutting. Okay, so a moment of truth. Let's see if this all goes together the way I planned. Now, usually I don't have to do too much cleanup, but as you could probably tell from that time lapse, there was a problem with my cut settings. I had them set for 3mm MDF, and this being 6mm, I had to run 2 passes to get it to go through. So I got a lot more charring than what I usually do, and some of the pieces didn't cut through all the way. But after some cleaning up, it's time to put it together. So wherever possible, I try my best to create the design in such a way that it's easy to assemble, and also where I can try to make it so that I don't have to use glue in my assembly. Okay, it seems to work. So as you can see, this construction is done in such a way so that every piece holds onto another piece. Now as I'm looking over this, the only thing I happen to not account for is this lip over here. Because I made this bottom piece inset between the front and the back panel, because I wanted that to be held on by the front and back panel. I forgot that this is sticking out from the back a little bit, so the only way I can fix that is either cutting, this looks almost to be like a 3mm gap, either cut a 3mm piece that's this shape that I can stick behind it, or I think I'll just change it in the design and make these tabs a little bit wider and then bring them out a little bit to extend to the same level as this over here, and that way when I put it up against the wall it will be straight, as now when I put it in it's going to lie at a bit of an angle, which isn't the end of the world, but for my OCD I think I'm just going to put a couple spaces in here for now. As for glue, I don't think I'm going to put any glue in here. Everything seems fairly sturdy. I think if I put a couple of screws in here into the wall, we should be golden. So I think I'm going to start up the machine and get cutting on the rest of the pieces. And while that's cutting, I can quickly put a coat of clear lacquer over this and mount it up on the wall. Okay, so that was a little unfortunate. I guess I should have seen that coming. When I was designing this on the computer, it looked a whole lot smaller than what it actually is. I was a little bit shocked when I started cutting everything out and I realized the scale of this cabinet. So I should have expected that these tiny tabs were not going to last very long. So seeing as I've already glued up the whole cabinet, there's no way I'm going to get a new door in here. So I guess I'm just going to roll with it. In the design, I'm just going to trim off this piece and I'm going to remove the door completely and just keep this as a open cabinet. So lesson learned. I think it's better this way anyway. So let's go ahead and put this up on the wall. Okay, there we go guys, it's done, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It definitely has some issues, but it's certainly much better than what I had. Now some of the obvious issues, the door was probably never going to work, but as I said, I think it's better without it. These drill bit holders are a little bit deep, so any of the drill bits that are smaller than 2 millimeters just fall all the way through. But because these aren't glued up, I can easily just take this out, remove this side piece, and I can glue in a spacer or two underneath here to lift those drill bits up. Some of these holes over here in the other section I had to drill out. I made all of the holes 8 millimeters because I knew that none of the bits that I wanted to put in here had shanks bigger than 8 millimeters. So I cut all of these to 8 millimeters on the laser, and then I could just adjust them according to what I wanted to put in there. And as you can see, I'm using this bottom part of here for just a whole bunch of random bits, my countersink drill bits and whatever else didn't fit in the top there. Now looking at this, you're probably thinking it might have been better to just cut these boxes the same as that so that they could be mounted directly to the wall, which in hindsight probably could have worked better. But I still like the look of the box, and I like the fact that I can change stuff if I want to. Like for this section over here, I don't know if I'm ever going to have any of these bits in the middle here, so I could cut a new one of these that doesn't have this section and maybe use that for something else. But as I said, I am going to make the plans for this available on my website for purchase. It'll be a small price, like $5 or something like that, but I definitely will make some changes to it before I upload it. For example, I'm definitely going to remove the door. I'll cut a couple of extra spacer blocks that can go in here to lift up these smaller drill bits. And what I think I'll do is I'll also make a version of either one of these inserts that has the ability to mount directly to a wall as with the masonry one. So in the file that you download, you'll receive all of that. I'll try to organize it as nice as possible in a way so that you can see what parts fit where. Obviously, as you can see, I've made this out of MDF, or superwood as it's called here. I would have loved to have made this out of a nice plywood, but in this country it's impossible to get ply in this thickness. And if you do, it's usually construction grade and it's terrible quality. So unfortunately for me, the only options I have are MDF. Now, as I said, this is a 6 millimeter. But for anyone abroad, 6 millimeter is basically, I think, a 1/4 inch plywood or 1/4 inch MDF. So this design should work for that as well. So with all that said, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. If you know of anyone who might need something like this, go ahead and share this video with them. If you have any ideas of other things that I could make with this laser and hopefully with the CNC, which I should be getting next week, let me know in the comments below. So until next time, keep making stuff.